News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM. Dave Wolf, Brett Witkowski, wrapping up the night at Niles, and we'll just say the night wrapped up pretty quickly for St. Joe.
Niles has lived up to the billing. I mean, there is a reason why the Vikings added St. Joe and Lakeshore to their schedule, and that's because they think they can win and compete. They came out tonight. They run the offense. Best way to describe it is what you see out of the service academy.
Yes.
And they ran it to the tee. Their backs ran the holes right. Their line, I thought, was absolutely impressive. They dominated St. Joe's defensive line, and St. Joe missed a lot of tackles, and Niles runners run hard.
And defensively, St. Joe, like you and Joel mentioned during the broadcast, St. Joe had no penetration, maybe once or twice. Plays for loss was a big thing of St. Joe last year.
Correct.
Was tackles for loss. They maybe had 2 tonight.
Yeah, maybe, and you're right. St. Joe did not get into the backfield, and against this type of offense, if you get in the backfield, you disrupt the running lanes, and that creates problems on the offensive side. I think the other thing, St. Joe kind of made a mistake in committing to the quarterback too soon on the option. Because when you commit too soon, if you don't have somebody up to take care of the pitch, they pitch it and they pick up big yards. They also did a great job, I thought Niles did, on the end arounds off the tight formation. They picked up some big yards, especially early in the ball game with those end arounds. And this is a Viking program that probably is the best I've seen since the late 70s. They are for real. I think they're going to make a lot of noise in Division IV and in the Wolverine Conference this season.
Yeah, I mean, we heard Edwardsburg was down big. I mean, the Edwardsburg has owned the Wolverine Conference
ever since they
joined. I mean, for the better part of 2 decades. Yeah. I think this Wolverine Conference, I don't say it's wide open, but the spotlights might be shifting a little bit to the west.
Yeah, you got to credit Niles. They came out to play, and what I liked about the Vikings is, after they scored, they acted like they had been there before, and they did it numerous times. Not for St. Joe and their fans. It's one game. Banners are not held for a great week 1. St. Joe, if you remember last year, did not have a good week 1 at all.
I know.
Up at Ferris State, and then they ended up reeling off 9.
And we didn't have a good trip on the way back either.
No, you got a deer ran into you. You didn't hit a deer actually hit you. So it's like a skit off Saturday Night Live or Family Guy or something. But, St. Joe's just kind of have to regroup. I'd be interested if they still stay with the 2 platoon. I'll be interested to see different players move to different spots. There's usually a lot of changes because you're limited how much you can hit in practice nowadays.
Yeah.
There's a lot of change of players in different positions between week 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. So some of the guys we announced, I think, early in this ballgame may not get announced as much. But it is week 1. St. Joe's going to play Henry Ford next Thursday. Henry Ford is a tough program. They're going to spread it. They're going to run all over the field. They're in the same conference division as Cass Tech. And Cass Tech's won a few state titles.
Yeah.
And so, they know how to play football. They've been going 4-5, 5-4 the last years. Their enrollment at Henry Ford has gone from 800 to 400 to 600. So it's all over the place. So I think probably in the Detroit League, guys move from school to school to school a lot more than they do over here because it's part of one school system. St. Joe's got to come out, I think, Wolfie, and have an impressive first quarter next week to get themselves mentally into the game.
I'm reminded, like back in Elliot Uselak's tenure, they lost the opening game to Marshall. And then they had to practice on that Sunday, and it became known as Black Sunday around the St. Joe football program. I'm not saying that we're going to have something like that this weekend with St. Joe, but you're going to have, we'll just say some speeches might be made in the locker room by Coach Anna Pratley.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you coach long enough, everybody's been part of one of these games. Sometimes less said is better. The scoreboard speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And, Joel and I were just talking about it. And, I think one of the things when Elliot Uselak first came to town, they came out that 0-9 season, and he asked everybody, whose fault was this? So everybody pointed to somebody else. And when you have a game like this, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Whether you're the coach or the player, it's a guy there. And that's what the St. Joe players, and they will, and their coaches, and they will. You'll hear it tomorrow with Coach Bradley. He'll take total responsibility for it. He's not going to blame others. And that's what you have to do. It's the person in the mirror that has to be better next week to have a chance to compete with Henry Ford and get in the playoffs and go from there.
Say the biggest point in any season is the difference between weeks 1 and weeks 2.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
definitely.
this is definitely the case for St. Joe as they face Detroit Henry Ford on Thursday night at Steve Upton Field at Dickinson Stadium. We'll be on the air at 6:35. Kickoffs at 7 o'clock from St. Joe. So for Brett Witkowski, Joel Cordes, I'm Dave Wolf, WS James Sports, live from Niles.
That was a good one, Wolf. Okay. Your parents drive here?
I drove, but